Welcome back to Kabiga's Reviews. Today we're looking at Halloween Kills, the 2021 film directed by David Gordon Green and starring Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, Andy Matichak, Will Patton, Thomas Mann, and Anthony Michael Hall, among others. Hi guys, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below. Let us know what your thoughts are on the video that you're about to see, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video. Thank you. The nightmare isn't over as unstoppable killer Michael Myers escapes from Laurie Strode's trap to continue his ritual bloodbath. Injured and taken to the hospital, Laurie fights through the pain as she inspires residents of Haddonfield to rise up against Myers. Taking matters into their own hands, the Strode women and other survivors form a vigilante mob to hunt down Michael and end his reign of terror once and for all. Okay, just got back from the cinema to see this film. I went on my own, and I tell you what, I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. I've seen two films this weekend. One of them was Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and the other one was this one, Halloween Kills. And if you want to know what I thought of Venom, check out my other video that's on the channel. This one is quite obviously Halloween Kills. Okay, I said in my Venom one that I felt that was episodic, and this is no different. This is also episodic, but this did it so much better. Now, there are a myriad of Halloween films, so what this one does, this is part, to give you a bit of context, this is the second part of a sequel trilogy, okay? And what it does is 2018's Halloween was a sequel, a direct sequel to John Carpenter's original 1978 movie Halloween. Okay, and what it did was it ignored all the other sequels that have happened in between. So it's a direct sequel to the original, and it picks up 40 years later. And it also does away with a lot of the plot lines and storylines of those sequels, and just goes with, right, that was then, and this is 40 years later, and this is what's happened in between, and this is what's happening now. And that's a great film for that reason. It's really gritty, it's really refreshing, and it's really well done. And I happen to like the way modern horror thriller movies are made. They always look so great. They always look stylish and polished. And I suppose you could say that at any time. I suppose in the 90s we would have said that those looked really cool and stylish and polished. But looking back now, maybe not so much. And who knows, in 20 years time we'll probably say that about these ones. But I really enjoyed the soft reboot remake that they did of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and also obviously this Halloween one. So I was quite keen and quite looking forward to this movie, this which is the middle of the trilogy. There is Halloween Kills, this one, and then next year we're getting a closure for the story, apparently Halloween Ends. So I've got to wait for a year to see how it goes. No spoilers here, but what I will say is that it's really, really good. We open up on like a flashback scene of those nights, those events of the 1978 movie, and I particularly like the fact that this movie and the 2018 movie also, they carry on. The title sequence is exactly the same. The music is the same, the font's the same, the wording's slightly different, obviously, because it's a different film. This one's called Halloween Kills, so you know, but it's really nice that there's that continuation. The fact that Jamie Lee Curtis is back again as Laurie Strode is brilliant, is really good. She's also an executive producer on this film, but I'm not going to say that's brilliant, but because that's like saying, oh, it's great to have Arnie back as the Terminator. Well, when you look back at some of the poorer sequels, Arnie was the Terminator in those as well, and Laurie Strode was played by Jamie Lee Curtis in other sequels as well. So having her back is great, but it's not what makes this film. What makes this film, I think, is it continues John Carpenter's original style. Now, his movie the 1978 Halloween changed the face of horror movies. It certainly wasn't the first horror movie, but it was very different to a lot of the other horror movies that were out at the time, is what made it stand out. It was quite cheaply made, so they had to really do what they could with what they had, but they went with a less is more style, and there's hardly any blood in that. You don't really see much of the killer, a lot of the suspense, a lot of the mind, and that's what the mind plays tricks on you. You know, the mind makes you see things and feel things and hear things that aren't necessarily there. So seeing it, imagine that the audience's imagination is worse than what they could possibly put on screen, and that's what John Carpenter's ethos was in that first film. And I've watched them both recently, the 78 version and the 2008 version, and that actually made me feel really well prepared for this film, because they were fresh in my mind. I only watched them like yesterday and today. So yeah, I recommend, if you're going to go see Halloween Kills, that you do that. You watch the original 78 and the 2008 version, because they're fresh in your mind, and when you go see this, you'll be there, you'll be on it. And this film does exactly what Star Wars A New Hope does for Rogue One, in the sense that it literally, aside from the flashback scene that I mentioned, it picks up almost directly off the end of the 2008 film and just carries on the story. And that goes back to what I was saying about it being episodic. The big difference here is that, unlike Venom, this film actually builds on that. It takes it to another level, and it also twists it and turns it to different perspectives. It's not just the same old. You know, it is when it comes to Michael himself, but they did to Michael in this film what Rogue One did to Darth Vader in Rogue One. It is Michael turned up to 11. Honestly, it is. You know, he's always been. He kind of creeps around and stalks and makes you jump, and then he kills a couple of people, but he's kind of slow and all that. Nah, this film is, honestly, it's like they've turbo boosted him. And I'm not saying that he runs around, I'm not saying that it looks goofy or anything, because it certainly does not, but there is gore galore, what you would expect from Michael Myers. This is superb. I really, really rate this film. It looks great, it looks rich, and the fact that they build up the tension, Personally, I think the tension is helped by the fact that it is Halloween, that it is Michael Myers, because there is a history with this character, especially if you do yourself the favour of watching the original and the 2008, as I did, then you already have that mentality, that fear, that anguish, that anxiety over this character already when you go see this film, and that is just dialed up even more. They did use a couple of jump scares, which I find as a cheap trick, but yeah, it worked actually. There was a couple of laugh out loud moments, and there were a couple of moments where I actually nearly cheered in the cinema, and I did find myself going yes, you know. And there was a few really good, powerful moments, and there's some really understandable character development going on here. What it does is it opens it out to the town of Haddonfield itself, rather than just focusing on the Strode family. So yeah, it shows how Michael's history and his activities have affected the wider community, and what they do about it, and what happens, and it all unfolds, and it's really good. The score's really good, the cinematography's really good, it's claustrophobic, it's dark, it's Halloween, it's scary, but also it never feels oppressive. You know, the colours are always rich, even when it's dark. There's a whole rich colour palette on the screen, you know. So yeah, this film, Halloween Kills, I can't fault it. I am really, really, really looking forward to Halloween Ends next year. It can't come soon enough. And then what I will do is I will watch the 1978 John Carpenter's Halloween, 2018 Halloween Kills, and then Halloween Ends. And what I'll do is I'll lock my doors and I'll turn my phone off and I will just watch all four one after the other, because that is, I think, how you are meant to watch these. They are so far really, really well crafted, and it shows that it's the same people doing this trilogy. It's not disjointed like some of the other sequels, because there's a continuity. So you know, the characters are the same. I believe they filmed Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends back to back as well. So similar to the Back to the Future trilogy, where 2 and 3 were filmed back to back, and you can actually feel that it does continue. You know, it's not like they waited and lost some of the storyline, or the actors aged or put on weight or anything like that, because it follows straight on, and that actually serves it really, really well, I felt. So I'm going to score this film. Are you ready? Not being a horror fan, I'm starting to think that, looking at my collection, that I actually may be a horror fan if it's done properly, if it's done well. Okay, so here's my score for Halloween Kills. I'm going to score this 9 out of 10, and I'm going to tell you guys, go and watch this movie. Watch Halloween Kills. You will have a blast. Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, drop us a like and subscribe to see all future content.